Hi scientists! We are going to start a lab right before your eyes. This lab is a 2-day lab just like oobleck. The first day is we are making our concoctions and we're seeing what's happening and recording just our observations. And day 2 then we start to analyze what does that mean. So today you need to get through your observations and you need to make really good detailed observations so that tomorrow when you are analyzing it you have good details to go off of. Remember when we are working with our lab partner, it's our elbow partner, the one that we fight for elbow space with, sometimes we call it a chicken wing, and that we're working on good lab etiquette, which means we take turns, we're not bossy, we don't do it all, but at the same time we don't sit back and let somebody else do it for us. That we take turns talking, we don't need to shout, it'll get a little loud in here, yes, but it shouldn't be crazy. Right now I want to make sure you have this lab sheet. If you don't have this lab sheet yet, press pause to get it and press play to begin. Now that you have your lab sheet, you need to make sure you have your first and last name in period 1 and the correct page numbers on it. I believe it's a packet, and so you should have all the right page numbers. So, first off, our purpose is to determine if each change observed is a physical or a chemical change, which means we need to remind ourselves what those changes are. So our research is to describe the difference between a physical and a chemical change. I have blanks for you right here. A physical change is when the matter blank change into a new substance, and a chemical change is when the matter blank change into a new substance. One of them does, one of them does not. Press pause and fill this in. Press play to begin again. All right, hopefully you have remembered that a physical change is when matter does not change into a new substance, and a chemical change is when matter does change into a new substance. Today we will be seeing examples of both of these. So we have to really think about when we're observing today, is this something completely new, like a new color, new bubbles, that kind of thing? Or did it just dissolve? It's still there. Or turn into a paste? That's a solid. It's still there. We have to be real thoughtful about that. So we have a hypothesis. Which combinations do you think will make a physical change? Which combinations do you think will make a chemical change? So really, let me tell you what we're going to do today before we can start this hypothesis. You have 4 white powders. White before your eyes is where we get that name from. Baking powder, baking soda, cornstarch, and sugar. You have 3 liquids, water, vinegar, and iodine. You're going to put them together in all the various combinations, which gives us 12 total. So we need to make a hypothesis about each change. Will it make a physical or a chemical change? So for example, these are just straight up guesses, not actualities. I might think that baking powder and water is going to make a physical change. I might think baking powder and vinegar will make a chemical change. I might think baking powder and iodine will make a physical change, so on and so forth. Water and vinegar we're pretty familiar with. If you don't know what iodine is, it's a brown liquid that once upon a time doctors and nurses would put on your skin to kind of clean a wound, that kind of thing. So it will stain your skin a little bit brown today, but it's not harmful for you and it does come off with soap. So just be careful, but it's not the end of the world if you get a little bit on you. I would like you to pause right now and make your 12 hypotheses. This should be quick. We don't want to spend all class period waiting for 12 hypotheses. Physical, chemical, physical, chemical. If you're wrong, it's fine. We just want to get in the right mindset. Press pause to do this. Press play to begin. All right, so let's go to our materials. We have our 4 powders. We have our 3 waters. Our 3 liquids. We have a plate where we'll be mixing. We have spoons, 1 for each powder because we don't want contamination. We have eyedroppers, 1 for each liquid because we don't want contamination, and toothpicks to do the actual stirring. If you don't have your materials at your spot yet, press pause, get your lab materials, press play to begin again. All right, so you should have your lab materials. We don't need to mess with many of them yet. Please just be patient. We need to get this set up correctly. Hopefully it won't take too long, and then you can start to experiment. So first off, you and your partner are sharing 1 plate. So on that plate, you need to draw 12 circles the size of a dime. That size of a dime is really important. We need to label the outside of each circle with our combinations. So BP plus W is baking powder plus water. BP plus I, baking powder plus iodine. BP plus V, baking powder plus vinegar. And we do that for each powder. BS is baking soda. I know. Be mature about it. S is sugar. CS is cornstarch. And our liquids, W is water, I is iodine, V is vinegar. So for example, I have an example plate that looks like this. I even put some quadrants on it to kind of help me space them a little bit better. And you can see I've got my baking powder quadrant, my baking soda quadrant, cornstarch, sugar. You don't have to have them in the exact same spots that I do, but it would be nice to keep all your powders together if you could. Any place you do cornstarch, keep them together. Again, dime size. Quarters are too big, peas are too small. Press pause to make your 12 circles and label them. Press play to begin again. So back to our procedure. With a spoon, you're going to place a small amount of baking powder into your 3 baking powder circles. Do not go outside the circles. We don't want to waste a ton of supplies. We need to record our observations about the appearance of the baking powder, color, texture, and other things in the unmixed column of your observation data table. So right here, our observation data table, I see my unmixed column. So what do these powders look like without any liquid? Yes, they're all white. Great, but we need more than that. Are they smooth? Are they bumpies? Is there crystals? Etc., etc. So you need to remember to observe unmixed. Then, using an eyedropper, add 2 to 4 drops of water onto your BP plus W baking powder. Mix gently with a toothpick and record in the BP plus W box. So I've got my baking powder, I've observed it unmixed, now I'm adding water and I'm observing what that does. Does it dissolve? Does it bubble? Does it turn a color? Does it turn a paste? I'm going to do the same thing with vinegar and baking powder and the same thing with iodine and baking powder. Making sure that I don't cross-contaminate the spoons and I don't cross-contaminate the eyedroppers. Then, according to my procedure, I repeat with the other powders and liquid combinations so that eventually I have all of these boxes filled out. It might look something like this, right? I have more descriptions for unmixed. And honestly, guys, I don't know if this is right or not. I was typing at home and my 6-year-old was talking to me, so I'm just typing in possible things. I don't know if they actually go in these combinations, and I don't want to give you the answers. So you're going to do this and figure it out for yourself. But maybe it dissolves, make a paste, maybe it bubbles, maybe it turns into a new color, maybe it just does something else. But you should have all of these boxes filled in. Once everybody has that, I will go over how to clean up in this lab. So press pause and fill out your lab table. Be very careful, be mature, be polite, be in control of yourselves. Have fun, and then press play when we're ready for cleanup. All right, so you should have all of these boxes filled in and every circle on your plate filled in and mixed and all that stuff. So for cleanup, your paper plate and toothpicks go in the trash. All the containers get sealed. Eyedroppers go together in a beaker. I might have a pitcher just because there'll be a bunch of them full of water. And your papers get clipped into your science notebook. If you have made any accidental spills, I will also have Clorox wipes out for that as well. Please make sure that everything is cleaned up. Please make sure you are helping clean up. And please make sure you are being as appropriate as possible. Thanks. I hope you guys had fun today.